Now, time for Cleared to Play. We'll take you inside the tent, get you updated on the latest injuries in the Bay, and proud to partner with UCSF Health on this segment and bring in Associate Professor of Orthopedic Surgery, Dr. Nirav Pandya. And I know we want to talk 49er injuries with you, Doc, but can you give us a minute or two on just your excitement level? There are very few Warrior fans like you. So who plays basketball tonight, and what are you wearing?
So Klay Thompson plays basketball tonight. Got to give a little shout out to Klay, and I'm wearing a Klay Thompson jersey. I feel with all the contract stuff out there, we're going to see a big performance for Klay Thompson, and there's always a little beef with Devin Booker, so we might see four fingers going up again by Klay.
You're wearing Klay, but which Klay, Doc? Because we know you've got a variety of Klays. Is it the blue? Is it the gold? Is it the classic white? What's your Klay?
I got the classic blue Klay, kind of the standard, no fancy jersey, just in number 11, blue Klay Thompson. Yeah.
Nice.
Very, very good. All right, Doc. Looking at that 49er game last night, let's actually start with what we didn't see. I have heard Trent Williams' situation called a high ankle sprain, a mild high ankle sprain, not a high ankle sprain. I'm hearing everything. All I know is he's not on the field, and the run game is nowhere near as good. What can we expect from him based on what you know? What do you think about him against the Bengals, whether or not he'll be back?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think the most consistent thing that seems to be reported was the low ankle sprain, which for someone his size, you would expect could potentially take, 1 to 2 weeks to get better from the time he got injured. I think a key component of him not playing yesterday was the fact they were on turf. Of all the injuries that there's an increased risk of on turf, ankle, foot injuries are the highest, even more so than ACL injuries. So probably the turf did play a little bit of a role in it, and hopefully this weekend when they're back on a more natural surface, he'll be out there. But given his size, history of injuries, the surface they were playing on, not surprised he didn't play. But if he has a good week of practice this week, it would be totally reasonable with a low ankle sprain for him to play against the Bengals.
Deebo Samuel, hairline fracture in the shoulder. What does that mean, and what is the return to play protocol like for that sort of an injury?
Yeah, definitely something that was a surprise after, they said x-rays and MRIs were negative, and then he comes up with this kind of quote-unquote hairline fracture. I think the key really is where that bone is broken. I mean, the fact that they weren't able to clearly see it on an x-ray or an MRI is suggestive that it's probably relatively minor. But I think the key is it a location that's structurally important? So even if it's very, very small, the risk of it affecting a joint or affecting mobility would potentially have you out for 4 to 6 weeks. If it's just in an area where, look, it was impacted, it's not really that important, it's more of a pain issue, it could be more like 3 to 4 weeks. But in general, until we know what area was exactly injured, I wouldn't be surprised if it could be up to 6 weeks. That's how long bones take to heal. If it's in a little bit of a less critical area, then this may be something that they push a week after the bye to get him back on the field.
Interesting. Doc Pandya with us here, 95.7 The Game. Okay, Doc, Christian McCaffrey, all week long. Oh, we don't know if he's going to play. Then he never came off the field. What did you see with him last night, and can we just assume he's fine now?
Yeah, I think with these oblique injuries, you're definitely, the way you get worried about it is, number one, if they look visibly not performing well. And obviously, statistics aside, he looked good out there. He was running, he scored 2 touchdowns. And the fact that they played him that many snaps is really indicative of the fact that he was feeling good and they were not concerned about a re-injury. If you're playing that much and there's an oblique injury that's closer to the bone or there's some component of inflammation in the rib, you wouldn't expect him to play. So barring any setbacks this week in practice, I think his quote-unquote statistical performance was more a reflection of not having Trent Williams there as opposed to his oblique impacting him, because they wouldn't play him that much if it was impacting him very substantially.
Yeah, good point. He played every single snap on offense, which was not enough for the Niners, but certainly good news for the future. Turning to the hardwood and Draymond Green and the sprained ankle, the word came out yesterday from Shams Charania that he won't play tonight. But would you anticipate that Draymond will be back sooner rather than later, pending his ability to get fit?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you don't see any reports from the Warriors that he's having any issues with the ankle itself. And you see the videos on social media of him running, jumping, doing agility stuff. So it seems more of an issue of conditioning than it does seem of the injury. And I think when we think of injuries, everyone's like, once your ankle's healed, you got to get back. But at this point in the season, that conditioning component is especially important for an older player. So he doesn't get that hamstring. He doesn't get that groin. He doesn't get that back issue by going in and playing 25, 30 minutes. So I think if the conditioning starts to get better as the week goes on, in the next couple of games, I think it'll be totally appropriate for him to come back. And potentially there may be a minutes restriction, but I think we're not that far away from seeing him back on the floor.
Doc, I won't ask you the Chris Paul question of you coaching, but I will ask you, are you coming? Are you coming to the game tonight?
I'm not coming to the game tonight. I'm very disappointed, but kid stuff, Mark and Dan, kids got practice and stuff. So I will have the game on my cell phone at whatever school event I am at tonight. So
nice. Prioritizing the kids over the Warriors, it's questionable, but I'm going to allow it.
Seriously. I mean, you think my kids don't have practice tonight? I said get yourselves home. That's the way it's going to have to be. Doc, great stuff as always. Thank you.
All right, take care, guys. Have a good one.